Hi, Mark Gilbert here. Thanks for clicking in. For the next few minutes, we're going to be talking about seeing the good in every situation. Like all our videos, they're designed to give you tools and ideas for assisting with our spiritual evolution. I hope you find it useful, and if you do, I would love it if you'd hit that subscribe button. It lets YouTube know that you like what we're doing here. You know, when we talk about seeing the good in every situation, we could also say it in another way. We could be talking about seeing God in every situation, because the actual habit of moving into the space of seeing the good in every moment is actually seeing God in everything. Now, if the thought of God and talking about God is freaking you out a little bit, just set that over to the side right now. And what I'd like you to consider is looking at your life from a standpoint of seeing the good in every moment and in every situation. Now, the fact of the matter is, when we move through our daily lives every day, we tend to look at certain events and label them negatively, and we tend to look at certain events and label them positively. And I think very few of us are very much on the negative end or very much on the positive end, that most of us are on this continuum somewhere in the middle, that maybe some days we're more positive than others and other days we're more negative than others. And so when I talk about seeing the good in every situation, what I'm really calling you to consider is to see how much time or percentage every day are you spending in seeing the good versus seeing the bad or seeing it as neutral. You know, seeing it neutral is probably better than seeing it as the bad, but what I call you to do is to set the intention to move more and more to seeing all of the events in your life as being good, as being beneficial, as being something that is giving you gifts and pleasantry in this particular lifetime. Now, the question might arise, why would we even want to do this? What is the advantage in seeing good in life over seeing things from a neutral or negative standpoint? Well, probably the number one thing that I'd like to point out of three major reasons to consider as to why seeing the good in every situation is beneficial is that the more good you see in the moment, the more enjoyable your life is. I mean, just think about it. If in a particular moment you see this as good, this is a good moment, I'm having a good time, or versus, God, this is a horrible moment, why did this have to happen to me? Which one would you rather experience? Which is going to be more pleasurable to move through and give you more happiness and joy in your lifetime? Obviously, seeing individual situations and seeing them as good is going to bring you more joy. So that's the first thing. The second reason I'd like you to realize that seeing the good in every situation is beneficial is that in my belief structure, what we see in life is what we tend to create in life, i.e. the more that we label and see things in a particular way, the more we tend to see that. So if we see life as being all about sourness and badness and things going to hell in a handbasket, that very nature of seeing life that way and those thoughts are going to create more of that in our life. Whereas if we see things as all about goodness and lightness and excitement and happiness and love and joy, that very nature is going to, and those very thoughts are going to create more of those experiences in our life. So again, it's back to which life would you rather experience? A life of happiness and joy and lightness, or a life of negativity and sadness and bad things? And then the third thing to consider is that if you are around other people, you know how you get around people who are good, happy to be around. You know, they see life positively and just want to be around them. Whereas then there are these people who are like, oh my God, they're the horrible naysayers and everything is horrible. And, you know, they look for the sour lining in every event. Do you want to be around those people? Do you? If you're like most of us, you want to be around the people who see things from a higher vantage point, a nicer, happier standpoint. Those are the more pleasant people to be around. So, makes for a better life, you create more positive experiences, and you're a better person to be around. Three key reasons why it can be advantageous to you to seeing the good in every situation. Now, one key thing to remember here is that even if we see the good in every situation, that's not going to mean we don't have negative events in our life. There's still going to be negative crap that comes up that we got to go through. And but what I want you to consider is how you can reframe those events. Yes, we're going to get lemons in life, but we can turn lemons into lemonade. We might have to, for a moment, experience the lemons and the badness and the things that we would be describing as less than what we want to experience in lifetime. But the quicker we can reframe the event and see the lemonade in the lemons, then the better things are going to be. So then the question becomes, how can we make that mind shift? How can we shift to seeing the good in every particular event? What I'd like to do is offer you a number of ideas, which I hope will be beneficial to you. So what are some practical ways that you can see the good in every situation? Well, the first one, and one that I often mention in many of these videos, is that whenever you're trying to change the way you look at life, you start with your intention. So every day have an intention that you are going to see the good in all situations. When you arise in the morning, have an affirmation ready that you say as you rise for the day, which basically says, as I navigate through today's events, I'm going to see the good in all that occurs. Create that in your own words and say it every day, and that's going to set the intention for it. The next thing I'd suggest is that as you look out on life, we can look out on life with a degree of same old, these are the things that are always occurring to me. Or you can look out with what I call child's eyes, seeing things with a freshness and newness. When you are letting go of the old patterns and beliefs regarding the events that are occurring in your life and sort of look at things with a newness and a freshness, an excitement, a degree of wonder. And see the video that's listed below, because I did a video on seeing life with wonder recently, that you begin to see life freshly, newly. And in that, you begin to see the good in everything. You tend to look beyond the events and what occurred and actually say, there's something better at play here, something beyond this that is really good and beneficial for me. And you look beyond the world of the event as it's currently just displayed to you, and you see the greater truth and the goodness behind that. The third thing you can do is to start asking your questions about the event. You ask yourself essentially this one question: what's good about this? You can have an intention to see the good in all events, and there's still going to be negative things that occur. But like I said earlier, the quicker you can reframe it, the better it's going to be. And one of the easiest ways of reframing those events is to stop and say, what's good about this? I remember I had a teacher many years ago who talked about the fact that he had been married for many years, and his wife got deadly ill and eventually died. And in the midst of the sorrow, he had to ask himself, what's good about this? It's a very tough situation to be asking that question on, but most of our daily events that are negative are not going to be so drastic. If he can ask that question in the midst of such a grief-stricken tragedy, I think we could ask the question in other moments. Every moment is laced with some goodness if we stop and say, what's the good in this? Or as I said up front, another way of framing that question is, what's God in this? Because God is in everything. The next suggestion for seeing the good in every situation is to tap into the power of love within your life and bring that love feeling into the moment. We all have experienced love. For most of us, it's that romantic feeling of a significant other, but love shows up in so many different ways. I've been touched by love through sunsets and trips. Yes, lovers, but also pets. My life has been filled with very many loving moments. I'd ask you in moments that you're struggling to see the good in a particular situation is to stop for the moment and touch into that sense of love in your life. Think about some particular person or pet or situation that always brings forth that feeling of love within you. And bring forth that feeling in that moment. And know that love is always there with you. That love is always an experience that you can choose to experience. And so then as you're in the midst of some worldly event and you can tap into that feeling of love within you, then say, can I bring love into this moment? Can I be a loving presence in this moment? And try to bring that loving feeling that you have in your heart in that moment into the situation that's at life in front of you. Another way you can reframe an individual situation in your life to see the good in it is to recognize and sense the interconnectedness of everything. Move into that witness conscious in your awareness where you step back from the events and don't be immersed in them from a sense of egoic concern about what's going to happen next or how you're being impacted by the events, but just sit back and witness what's going on. And from that state of witness consciousness, recognize that in whatever is occurring, that it's all interconnected, that all of the events of your life have transpired to bring you to this particular moment, and that everybody that's involved in this particular situation has moved through their own timeline of events to this particular moment and the interaction that's occurring. And that's not to say that we can't in the moment have judgments that say this is less than what we would desire. But let's transcend that judgment and move to a space of seeing the beautiful underlying interconnectedness of all the things that had to transpire to bring forth the experience that's occurring right now. That all of life on some base level is interconnected, and that interconnected divine flow is feeding this particular event as well. And when we do that, it leads me to my final suggestion, which is to move forward into seeing the divinity in all of this, to seeing the God energy flow, that there is a divine, perfect pattern unfolding in the events that are right in front of us. It might be a situation that we don't want to necessarily go through, but the more that we can step back and witness it and see God in this particular moment, the more that we see that we are called to a greater and grander expression of ourselves as individuals and humanity collectively through the experience that we're going through. That this is a gift. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, to evolve to a higher expression of who we are. And when we can see that this is a gift for our growth and higher evolution, then we begin to see the good in the moment, even though the experience itself might be challenging for us. So there you have it, some reasons why it's beneficial for you to see the good in every situation, plus a number of examples of ways in which you can bring that into practical practice in your individual life. What ways do you use in your current life right now to see the good in every situation? If it's something I didn't mention in this video, leave me a comment down below. Or if you've got suggestions for future videos you'd like me to see, send me an email at the email address shown on your screen, and I'll consider it for a future video. I hope you benefited from watching this. Thanks for watching, and until next time. Hey, one more quick thing. I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel. The link is down there on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Also, there's a related video you might want to watch. It's right next to my face. And if you like this video, be sure to click like and leave me a comment on YouTube. Thanks.